You're listening to the 135th edition of the Bitachon podcast. Continue with the next passuk in Reb Zundel's list. It's a passuk in Tehillim, Parak Lamed Aleph, passuk Tesvav, Psalms chapter 31, verse 15. It says, Ani alecha batachti Hashem. I trusted in you, Hashem. And I trusted in you, Hashem. Amarti elekai ata. I said, you are my God. This is in the same chapter that we've been discussing the last few weeks. And let's see the Meforshim. Va'ani choshu lekachas nafshi. Dovid hamelech, King David, is comparing himself to his enemies. The enemies who surround him. The enemies who desire to destroy him. The enemies who wish to cause him harm. They are all have their focus, their desire to destroy. And me, what's my focus? Am I going to destroy them? Is that what I'm thinking about? Am I going to protect myself? Is that what I'm thinking about? The Dovid says, as for me, my focus is very clear. It's very single-minded. It's that I trust in you. Ki amarti l'kayato adon v'shevet alai v'loheim. I understand, says Dovid hamelech, King David says, as explained by the Radak, I understand that although it looks like it's them, it looks like my enemies, Hamas, Hezbollah, Yemen, Iran, looks like my enemies are the ones who are judging me and coming to destroy me. But Dovid hamelech says, I don't look at it that way. I don't think of it that way. I don't focus on the external aspect of it. I know, Hashem, that anything that happens to me in my life is from you. If it's happening, it's because I've done something in my relationship with you, Hashem. And that is the net result or the net cause of everything that I see. So, I turn to you, Hashem. I'm not going to look at the external aspect of it. I'm going to look at the inner aspect of it. I'm going to turn to you and I'm going to trust in you. Because you are the judge. And you are a fair judge. And I don't have to worry about how they judge me. I only need to worry about how you judge me. Says the Yavitz. Siper l'malaki lo nishal etikva l'mitzad atzma l'mitzad shchena v'uyudav shehim chutz imenu. King David until now has told us that he doesn't feel like he has any hope, whether it's from his own righteousness, his own zechuyos, his own merits, or whether it's in his relationships with those around him. He doesn't feel like he can do it on his own. Amar ata ki haya b'tech v'rachmei Hashem lo nishar lo zulasam. King David says, the only thing that I have, the only chance that I have, is Hashem's compassion, is Hashem's rachmanis, His mercy. And so, says King David, that's where I place my trust. That's where I place my hope. V'zeh kineged pachad atzmai. Right? And this is his weapon, in a certain sense, that he's using against his own fear. How does Dovid hamelech is giving us a tool? How do we overcome fear? We say Hashem is a Rachman. Hashem, God, you are the merciful one. You have eternal mercy. When it comes to how I think about myself, I have to think about Hashem's Rachmanis. But when it comes to how I respond to those who come against me, who come and say that they want to destroy me, I need to say, God is on my side. God is with me. I'm not afraid of my enemies. This is what I say to my enemies. Inside myself, I say, Hashem, please have Rachmanis on me. I know I don't deserve it, but as far as my enemies, I say to them, God is on my side. Bezrat Hashem, with Hashem's help, we will succeed. Why? Because this is how we project to the world. We say we know that God is with us. Even though, again, inside of myself, I know I don't deserve it. But that's what I say to the world, to my enemies. Says the Akedas Yitzchak, Amar shekvar pana liboy, heina ve'heina le'azer b'shum shtadlus me'amayis v'anoishim v'lo motzah. King David is telling us that he tried this type of effort, he tried that kind of effort. He did it all. He left no stone unturned when it came to trying to accomplish, when it came to trying to protect himself, when it came to trying to succeed. But it didn't work. Lo yaltzad ha'imolit etzel shum oyev v'reya ki ein lo makir. It didn't help him to try to find a friend who would protect him, would give him a place to stay, to escape. He didn't find anybody who was willing to help him. And he couldn't save himself because he understood clearly that there was nowhere to run. He couldn't convince anybody to help him. Nobody was interested in helping him. Kasher kolsa elav efshorus haishtadlus. Manisha leirak tza'akosei tvulasei. L'zeh amar v'ani alecha v'tachti. When there was no other efforts that he could expend, when it became clear all other avenues had been exhausted, he turns to Hashem and he says, I trust in you, Hashem. All I can do is call out. All I can do is pray. And that's what he means. And I, after everything, after all of my ishtadliyos, after all of the efforts, after all of the different paths that I could have taken, I realized they didn't work. And there's only one path to take. And that is to pray to you, to ask you for assistance, God. Says the Malbim, Va'ani, Hagam she'en li od shum makir u'moshiach. Malbim says a similar idea to what we said before. Even though I don't have anyone to save me, I don't have anyone who recognizes me, I don't have anyone who can help me. Alecha b'tachti Hashem, but I trusted in you, Hashem. Umarti l'kayota, I said, you are my God, aleh ata adayin mashgiach alay Moshiach. Even if nobody else cares about me, even if there's nowhere else to turn, you still watch over me. You still protect me. You still save me, Hashem. Says the Reish Aleph ben Ramuch. Afal bish ani nimshach achar hatayves v'amidas ha'magunos. He says an amazing thing. And this can give us all hope. Because who amongst us can say that we're perfect or that we're properly serving Hashem as much as we would like? Says the Reish Aleph ben Ramuch that King David was saying, look, I know myself. I'm not as good as I would like to be. I have desires. I have negative character traits. Nevertheless, I trusted in you, Hashem, that you will save me from my enemies who are trying to figure out how to get me, who are taking advice with each other in order to vanquish me. Amarti lekayota hakavona. What does it mean when it says, I said that you are my God? Even though I naturally follow after my character traits, my inborn character traits, nimtzu bidvarim tovim. There are good things that you can find in me, Hashem. V'heim shani makir she'ela atlois bois olay mitzad roya midoisai. I can acknowledge, I can see, says King David, that the things that are happening to me are because of my negative character traits. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that which is occurring to me is because of it's my own fault. Nimtzu bidvarim tovim. I also have good things about me. I'm sorry, I just read that. And that's why I am being chased and I'm getting to the gates of death. Even though I have many enemies, you, my God, means I recognize that you are the great God, right? The name Elohim is plural because it includes Kol HaKoich. Hashem is the Bala Koiches Kulan. Hashem has all the power. He's greater than every single creation of His. And therefore, I trust you, Hashem, that you will save me from all of my enemies. I know, as we said previously, as we saw, I think, from the Ivets, Hashem, you are my judge. No, I'm sorry, we saw from the Radak. You are my judge. You are the one. And I know that I don't need to worry about finding favor in the eyes of any other judge, any human judge. Only in your eyes. Says King David, I have 3 important character traits. I recognize my lack. I recognize my own faults. Beis, midas habitachon. The second is that I have trust in you. Right? The name Elokim, besides for me meaning that God has all the power, He's greater than all the powers, it also is a recognition that God is a judge. It's the name of judgment. Elokim is the aspect of God's judgment. Hashem, you are my God. I recognize that you are the judge. You are the one who decides. And therefore, I'm not concerned with all the other superficial seeming enemies that I see. The Meir Tehillim says like this: King David says that all of those who are coming to try to attack me, to try to cause me harm, they're looking at the clock. They're looking at the clock. They're trying to find an auspicious time when they can attack me, when they can hurt me, when they can cause me harm. But I don't do that. When you like Cain, I am not like them. I don't look at the time. I don't look at the clock. I don't look at the stars to try to figure out when is an auspicious time for me to escape. I trusted in you, Hashem. We find there's a statement from Rabbi Chanina. It's a famous idea that when a person is in danger, you should repeat the words over and over again. There is nothing else besides for Hashem. There is nothing else besides for Hashem. There is nothing else besides for Hashem. It's a very powerful statement. It's a powerful reminder for ourselves to get these words into our minds. There's no one else except for God. God is all there is. Nothing else can cause me damage. I said, you are my God. You are my leader. You are the one who leads me through life. You are the one who directs my every step. The next passuk says, my times are in your hand. Even though there are times, there are auspicious times, the stars do reveal. If a person understands what it says in the heavens, they do reveal auspicious times that are dangerous, times that are less dangerous. The tzaddik is not given over to the times. The tzaddik is not affected by the stars. The tzaddik, the righteous individual, his faith on Hashem raises him above. The passuk says by Avram Avinu, by Abraham, God took him out. He took him out from being somebody who was affected by the natural order of things, by the times, by the physical realm. He was given a child at the age of 100 years old. His wife was 90. The natural order doesn't apply to us. When we have bitachon, when we act in a righteous way, the natural order, the times do not affect us. The Gra writes that it's on a passuk. I think it's a similar passuk. Vani el Hashem b'tachti. I turned and I trusted in Hashem. So when a person places his faith in Hashem, so Hashem is now in his life. The Ashkacha, the divine providence, takes effect on his life. When a person removes himself from Bitachon, when a person turns away from Bitachon, they don't find the parking spot. They don't find the parking spot. Or they're not saved. They don't have that extra level of hashkacha pratis that's required, which if a person wants to survive in certain circumstances, they need the nace. They need the miracle. It depends on us whether we get that miracle. The Ber Avram says like this: Hine kineged kol ha'arba dvarim sheyesh la'oivai. King David is saying that my enemies have 4 advantages over me. Seeming advantages over me. But I'm going to show you, King David is going to show us that for each of the advantages that his enemies have, he has a greater advantage. What are they? He brings here in the brackets. Aleph di basam ra. They succeed in speaking negatively of him. Beis kurvasam etzlai. Second is, they're near to him. Physically, they're around him. They can hurt him. They can destroy him. The third is, when our enemies join together against us, that's a great power. Fourth, physically, these enemies are stronger than us, stronger than him. Says King David, they have all of these 4 advantages over me. Inli rak echad. I have only one advantage, but this is the clincher. Husha alecha batachti Hashem. They have all of the advantages, the seeming advantages, the natural advantages, but I have the ultimate advantage, which is that I trust in you, Hashem. Mitzad atzmecha. Says King David, I don't trust in you because I think that I'm so righteous. We've spoken about how it's important to, if we have Bitachon, it's important to try at least, to try to be on a level. This is about a relationship with Hashem. But King David says, I know myself, and I know I'm not perfect, and I know, as we saw before, I know I have imperfect character traits. I'm not as good as I could be. But King David says, I know that I can trust you, even though I don't deserve it. But because I said, I admitted that you are my God, and there is no other power besides for you. With this alone, just having this recognition is all I need. Just saying the words, Einay levadai. I don't have to worry. Hashem will vanquish my enemies. I don't have to worry. Hashem will vanquish my enemies. Okay, last point here from the Yefei Naim. There's a star here. I put a star next to it because I really like it. Yefei Naim from the Rav Dovid Mibrod. Ani alecha batachti Hashem kloimer. Zeu habitachon shani b'teach. This means to say, this is the bitachon that I trust in Hashem. B'farsh be'eze hinin nechshav lebitachon. Amarti lekayata. What is the exact context that it's called bitachon? I said that you, Hashem, are my God. Kloimer, zeu hachesed shata oise imanu. Listen to this, it's very interesting. You do a kindness for us. The fact that when we're in Eretz Yisrael, or when we are in Chutz La'aretz, when we are outside the land of Israel, our enemies, the idol worshippers, the nations of the world, they torment us. They treat us terribly. This in itself is a powerful lesson. There's a little explanation in the brackets. Tehillim Amar Keklal Yisrael Chashvu Shagayim Mitzir Masam Avor Mabidenu Mabadenu Miyushalayim Begedula Begoyle Yanichu Isanu. The Jewish people thought that the world hates us. It's because we have Jerusalem, we have a Beis Hamikdash, we have a temple, we have a standing in the world. We are a great nation. But as soon as we get out of Israel, as soon as we go into exile and we're under their boot, they'll stop being so mean to us. They'll stop hating us so much because we're no longer a grand nation. But that's not true. What happened when we left the land of Israel? What happened when we were exiled? They continued to oppress us. Now I understand that the fact that they oppressed me when I was in Jerusalem had nothing to do with the fact that I was great. It had nothing to do with the fact that I had a greatness amongst the nations of the world. It's because Hashem, you are my God. It's a recognition that you are my God. The name Elohim, as we said before, is the name which has to do with judgment. I recognize that that I was exiled, that I am oppressed, whether I'm in Israel, whether I'm oppressed outside of Israel, wherever the oppression occurs, that has nothing to do with me being important and others are jealous of me. Nothing to do with something which is unexplainable, which is I'm out in Gullus and I have no status and still they oppress me. There's only one reason. It's because Hashem has judged me. It's because Hashem is trying to bring me back to Him. It's because Hashem, it's about my relationship with God, and it has nothing to do with these superficial circumstances which I am encountering. This is a tremendous kindness from Hashem that He shows me that it's not about them, it's about me. It's not about my enemies, it's about my relationship with my God. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next time.